internal democracy. So I want to say, gentlemen, Amuriat and Nanda Mafabi, most of Amuriat who stepped down, bravo, you did the best. It was showing spirit of the party for one to step down for the other and ensure that there is unity within the party. Now for the National Unity Platform, yes, they unveiled the poster that they're going to use for this election. I must say Kyagulanyi looks good. It is not any different. You know, campaign posters, some of them, if you see them, and then you look at the actual person, they are more or less like women videos on TikTok.
Just women? You mean men don't use filters?
No, a woman on TikTok will look very extremely beautiful, no pimple, no spot. Make a date and meet her. You'll be very shocked.
I think this applies to men as well. TikTok has
No,
filters.
for us, when we are getting TikTok, we don't usually go into those things. You just take me as I am. But ladies, whoa! When
and
she
you know why I
comes
say
out,
that? It's because TikTok has an unavoidable filter that for as long as you're using it, it's there. You can't.
Okay,
Yes.
so at least for the ladies, have some
filters.
extra they put. Then, away from that, also you have the NRM party. Now, the tribunal is still working.
Yes.
We'll wait to see. 7 days we have to know the actual outcomes. Then President Yoweri Museveni moving to Kenya on invitation of President William Samoei Ruto. There's also another thing. I enjoyed the president of Kenya this time so much about the East African community. And His Excellency talking about you cannot talk about any other thing when you're not looking about production and people buying what you're producing. I think from that was the highlight. President Museveni said, if you are to develop the East African community, let's increase production. Let's know what we are producing as a region. But also when you produce, there is a question, who is going to buy? Let's have the markets. Because one of the dreams of the East African community, we are looking at this big number of people.
Right.
That if they are very productive, they produce, sell amongst themselves, where necessary, look for markets as a block, not as a single country. Then the region will flourish within no time. So I was happy seeing my president still very passionate and hitting the nail at the head, addressing the actual factors you're talking about. I hear this and that. But your people are not producing anything. If they're farmers, they're producing and they're stuck with what they're producing. They don't have markets. So our region cannot develop. We may talk politics, we may talk human rights, we may talk whatever, but if the people in the region are poor, we will not have power to bargain with other blocks that are growing stronger and stronger. Maybe I think the European Union, where we saw one move out during the Brexit, but other blocks are growing stronger and stronger every day.
Right. On that note, let's take a trip down the local scene.
We begin with President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, who yesterday morning received a ceremonial welcome, marking the start of his state visit to strengthen Uganda-Kenya relationships. In a high-level bilateral talks with President William Ruto, the two leaders discussed deepening cooperation in trade, infrastructure, energy, and security. Major regional projects including the Mombasa-Nairobi-Kampala-Kigali motorway, the standard gauge railway, topped the agenda alongside enhancing border security and advancing East African community integration, particularly in the monetary union. The visit also focused on economic empowerment, initiatives targeting youth and women, reinforcing both leaders' commitment to shared prosperity and regional unity. President Museveni's engagement reflects Uganda's continued leadership in Pan-African cooperation and regional development. Excuse me. The President, through a directive dated July 17, 2022, ordered National Housing and Construction Company to undertake the relocation of Electoral Commission headquarters, which initially was situated on Plot 55 Ginger Road. Now temporarily seated on 7th Street since 1st January 2023, to a permanent physical location of 10 acres land in Lubowa, Wakiso District. The official groundbreaking of the Electoral Commission headquarters offices, which is estimated to cost over 200 billion, will budget was presided over by the Premier of Uganda, Robin Anabanja. Prime Minister Robin Anabanja's speech during the official groundbreaking ceremony of the Electoral Commission headquarters offices and storage facilities at Reza Rubowa in Wakiso district. However, National Housing and Construction Company, the landlords and the project developers are worried about the projected delays due to budget provisions, although the construction works are estimated to be completed in 24 months. The chairman of the Electoral Commission, Justice Simon Byabakama, lauded President Museveni for considering giving the commission a permanent physical location. He further said the customized project for the construction of this state-of-art facility will enhance service delivery of the commission. Government has suspended a number of national road construction projects due to insufficient funds. Several projects, including Kampala-Jinja Highway, Mitiyana-Mubende, Najana-Nkumbi-Busabala, and Moroto-Lokitanyala, have been suspended after Ministry of Works has failed to meet payment for the contractors. General Katumba Amala, the Minister for Works and Transport, revealed that the country risks extra costs if the earmarked road projects are not paid attention to. Katumba was updating Parliament on the status of roads in the country. Parliament has of recent boiled up over bad road infrastructure in the country, calling for an update from the government. In response, General Katumba Amala said that Works and Transport began with disclaimers. From his explanation, government is failing the road network coverage, which currently consists of 21,292 kilometers, of which 6,912 kilometers are paved and 14,980 kilometers unpaved. At least 3.156 trillion shillings is required if the earmarked road projects in the financial year 2025-2026 are to be completed. However, only 682 billion has been allocated. This was witnessed about 27 projects being affected, with several suspended. Government has revealed plans to abolish school fees in all government-aided schools. The revelation was made yesterday by the Minister of Gender, Labour and Social Development during the launch of new national parenting tools aimed at supporting families, especially in urban areas. The minister declared that government has committed budgetary support to ensure that all children in government-aided schools receive free education without hidden costs. The minister cited raising dropout rates and urban family stress as key drivers behind the move. She also launched 3 new parenting tools to support caregivers in Uganda's evolving social environment. The minister launched the National Parenting Training Manual, a facilitator's guide, and a parenting data hub designed to standardize and digitalize parenting practices across the country. For the first time, even children with no parental support, like street children, can access structured guidance rooted in Ugandan values. And well, that brings us to the end of our local stories this morning. Let Julie take us through what we have on the international scene.
Yes, indeed. Thank you, Robert. And looking at what is on the foreign scene, starting from Canada, Prime Minister Mark Carney has said that Canada plans to recognize a Palestinian state in September, becoming the third G7 nation to make such an announcement in recent days. Carney said that the move depends on democratic reforms, including the Palestinian Authority holding elections next year without Hamas. His remarks come after a day after the UK announced it would recognize a Palestinian state in September unless Israel agreed to a ceasefire and other conditions, and a week after France unveiled a similar plan. Israel's foreign ministry rejected Canada's announcement, calling it a reward for Hamas. Most countries, 147 of the UN's 193 member states, formally recognize a Palestinian state. Carney said Canada would formally recognize the state of Palestine and at the upcoming UN General Assembly. He cited that the expansion of Israeli settlements in the occupied West Bank, the worsening humanitarian situation in Gaza, and the 7th October 2023 attacks on Israel by Hamas as reasons behind Canada's dramatic shift in foreign policy. Now, President Donald Trump says the U.S. will charge a 15% tariff on imports from South Korea in what he called a full and complete trade deal. This comes just a day before a 1st August deadline for countries to reach agreements with the U.S. or be hit with higher tariffs. South Korea had been facing a 25% levy if it had not struck a deal. Pressure on Seoul had been mounting after Japan, a key competitor in the car and manufacturing industries, secured a 15% tariff rate with the U.S. this week. The deal, which also sees Seoul invest $350 billion in the U.S., has been touted as a success in South Korea, especially given the record trade surplus of at least $56 billion US dollars with the U.S. last year. The 15% tariff rate will cover both cars and semiconductors, two of Seoul's main exports to the U.S. But steel and aluminium are the big earners. For South Korea, will be taxed at 50% in line with the global rate President Donald Trump has set. Nevertheless, South Korean leader Lee Jae-myung has praised the deal, saying it would put his country on an equal or better footing compared with other countries. At least 22 people were killed and 197 others were injured in violence that erupted during protests against a fuel price hike this week, Angola's government has said. The unrest broke out on Monday when minibus taxi associations launched a 3-day strike against a government decision to increase the price of diesel by 1/3, part of efforts to curb costly subsidies and shore up public finances. Looting, vandalism, and clashes with police started in the capital, Luanda, and then spread to 6 other provinces. Sporadic gunfire was heard across Luanda and several other cities on Monday and Tuesday as people looted shops and clashed with police. President João Lourenço's cabinet met on Wednesday and received an update on the security situation and police response. A presidency statement said there had been 22 deaths, 197 people injured, and 1,214 arrests. 66 shops and 25 vehicles have been vandalized and some supermarkets and warehouses looted, the statement said. The statement added that the army was deployed to restore order as the riots triggered a climate of widespread insecurity. Looks like from Kenya now from Nairobi, it's now in Luanda. Hopefully it does not grow as worse as sometimes it gets. But Robert, what do we have on in the dailies today?
Well, in the New Vision, we have battle for NRM sex lot. Now, this is the top organ of the ruling party, NRM. And many want to be in the kitchen. You know, there is one contesting who says SEC is the kitchen.
Is the kitchen,
That
yes.
is Engineer Janada Simwe for Western Vice Chairperson. He calls it SEC, calls SEC the kitchen, and says, I want to go there and cook for members of my party. Now, Uganda, Kenya sign 7 bilateral agreements. What are these agreements? Well, the New Vision has more of that. Details of Finance Ministry releases, and also we have FDC fronts Mafabi for president, and Kyagulanyi unveils campaign poster. Now, those are some of the highlights in the New Vision. Let's go to the Daily Monitor this morning. Regional deals. What deals? Well, Daily Monitor has quite a number of them for you in tourism, in agriculture, talking about the standard gauge railway, and fresh cracks put over 2,000 families at risk in Sironko. We said I do after decades of breakup.
Interesting.
All voters to undergo biometric tests. Now, here, yes, come 2026, the long road for Nandala in 2026. Now, Uganda, Kenya signed trade agreements, and your friend, the lizard, says until someone blocks eggs. Okay. Well, that is it for the Daily Monitor.
Indeed, let's have a look at what is in the Citizen in Tanzania. Tanzania set to dominate East African uranium market. That's a headline in the Citizen. And also still in the Citizen, new business center in Dar won't displace local traders, says government. Also, National Matters National, there is a memoir of a memoir there of Mwandosia, my year-long battle with rare cancer. Now, looking at the bottom of the Citizen, in there is how AKDN promotes development in East Africa, and battle lines drawn ahead of CCM parliamentary primaries. Digital financial governance poised for a makeover. Let's take a trip to the Daily Nation. And the headline there is uproar over new alcohol rules.
My friend, I was reading through those rules.
All right.
They're almost making drinking impossible.
Oh, well.
In Kenya.
Oh, well, perhaps saving you from lots of heights and incompetence in life.
There are no deliveries.
Well, the other story in the Daily Nation, university freshers in fees crisis. Also, war on graft officials barred from government contracts, and regional ties, Ruto Museveni fault rising EAC trade wars. All of that in the Daily Nation. And with that, let's close it from what we have in the dailies. Just buy yourself a copy and take a look at what is in the detail. For now, let's have a short break as we commemorate the 32nd anniversary of Kabaka Ronald Muwenda Mutebi, since he took the throne to lead well the kingdom of Buganda. And with that, we are doing it with a song, and that is Maso Moji from Budo SS.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Good morning, Uganda. We are now at the tail end of this week. It's a Thursday. My name is Julie Nantaba Musisi. And starting off with President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, who is on an official state visit to the Republic of Kenya on invitation by President William Ruto, which ends today, started yesterday, and ends today. And he was also accompanied by former Speaker of Parliament, and that is Honorable Kadaga. But looking at some of the highlights that we have, cheers and chants filled the air at the National Unity Platform headquarters in Makerere Kavule as party president Kyagulanyi Ssentamu was officially declared as the presidential flag holder for the NUP party come 2026 general elections. Addressing hundreds of enthusiastic party members and supporters, Kyagulanyi vowed to bring change and urged Ugandans to rally behind him at the NUP cause. The announcement was marked by the unveiling of a new campaign poster and slogan introduced by NUP Secretary General David Louis Rugorgonya. The poster features Kyagulanyi in bold NUP colors and includes the new campaign slogan. Kyagulanyi, alongside other NUP leaders, including Isaac Tomusange, condemned all forms of sectarianism and hate speech, urging Ugandans to unite beyond tribal and religious lines. Amid the excitement, the party also addressed the logistical demands of the upcoming general election, and Honorable Engineer Ronald Balimwezo, who was tasked with the leading of the fundraising exercise, presented a detailed report on the progress made toward the 9 billion Uganda shillings target needed for the campaign. Also looking at still matters politics, but in another party, Forum for Democratic Change opposition party leaders have given the former Secretary General, Nathan Nandala Mafabi, Honorable Nathan Nandala Mafabi, a green light to lift the party flag ahead of the forthcoming 2026 presidential elections. The development came after a series of consultative meetings between the party's delegates and leaders on the Elders Forum, whose aim was to ensure a consensus was generated by the two candidates, Patrick Amuria Toboy and Nathan Nandala Mafabi, for one to step down for the other. Jack Sabiti, the chairperson FDC Elders Forum, asserted that efforts were geared towards ensuring friction within the party was avoided, as he explained. Once again, good morning, Uganda. You are watching UBC TV, coming to you live from Nile Avenue, and this is Good Morning Uganda, the show. I am with Robert Chirabo Nyonyintona. Good morning, Robert.
A lovely morning to you, our viewer, and of course, Julie. Good morning.
Good morning.
Is that grey?
It is grey. You got it right this time.
Yeah, this time I got it right.
Once in a rare time.
You see, for us, when we were in school, our days, it was all about light or dark.
You never studied colors.
So we would say that is light red, light grey, dark grey, and that was all.
Do you know another shade of maroon?
Now you have here forest, whatever you have. You've named the colors a number of things. So when my son is speaking to me, sometimes he says, "Daddy, I bring this." You're like, "Hmm?"
He says, "I bring burgundy."
Yes, and you're like, "Excuse me, what is
peach.
that?" You're like, "What?" At least with peach now, I click. So
very interesting. What has caught your eye?
First, the FDC party. I feel they have not done us justice. We wanted more stories.
I hear you.
From the delegates conference. You know, the other delegates conference was hot.
It was.
I remember there was a time when I saw Ambassador, was it Waswa Vidigwa, even being lifted to jump over the fence, you know, to run for his life. So we missed some stories.
We missed the drama.
We missed the drama, if it was going to be there. We missed to report more stories. But the good thing, they did what is best for the party at this time. Yes. If there is anything that FDC does...
Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC.
He expected me to die like within the first 2 years. Out of the blue,
the child will get pains, especially in the wrists. And this happens commonly when children are starting to walk.
Was brought to you by...
I'll call you every day, yeah, yo, baby, don't know.
You can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks. Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000. Or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100 *21 hash and select daily, or use the My MTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
Hello, Kampala, Uganda. In response to the national call of strengthening the traffic security, Good Products Group HGO brand has officially launched the Rider Selection Campaign. Registration is now open. Visit www.riders.hgo.com. Complete your registration now for a chance to win exciting prizes, including motorcycles, exclusive HGO gift boxes, and official rider vests, all while promoting safe riding awareness. This is how to participate. Pay the registration fee, invite 3 friends friends to form a team of 4 and your registration fee will instantly be refunded. Begin your journey of honor today. Don't miss this opportunity. Join the challenge, promote road safety and become a pioneer rider. For details, visit the official Good Products website at www.hgo.com or call toll free 0800-335-555 or visit our offices at Kingdom Kampala 3rd floor to register now and win prizes worth millions.
I thought it was just a heat rush, but a friend told me to get tested for Mpox. I went early and I caught it before it got worse. I only had to stay home for a few days. If I'd waited, I could have missed 2 weeks of work, maybe even more. That's rent and food gone. Early testing and treatment helped me to protect my health and income.
Trust your health workers. Early detection of Mpox saves lives. Visit a health facility as soon as you notice that you are unwell. For more information about Mpox, call the Ministry of Health's toll-free line 0800 1000 or send a free SMS to your report on 8500. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Health of Uganda with support from UNICEF, WHO and partners.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
A very good morning to you, as always. If you've been with us since the start, thank you so much for being on the show. And if you're just joining in, you're welcome. This is Good Morning Uganda on UBC TV. My name is Julie Nantabamusisi. Time for the real. And we are talking about human trafficking, and in particular, looking at how the world celebrated World Day Against Human Trafficking in Persons. And it was celebrated yesterday, the 30th of July, 2025. 30th July every year is World Day Against Human Trafficking in Persons. And the theme was human trafficking is organized crime and the exploitation. Now in Uganda, Kalangala district is now known as a destination for trafficked children and women, most of whom end up in forced marriages, forced labor, as well as commercial sex workers. And looking at the 2024 trafficking report in Persons report, Uganda highlights both progress and persistent challenges in combating human trafficking. Now, while Uganda increased the anti-trafficking training for law enforcement, proactive screening and pre-departure training for migrant workers, the report also notes a decrease in the number of traffickers investigated and victims identified, and limited access to services for some victims. Join the conversation 0709-602-592. Share your opinion, your experience, as well as what you have to say in regards to this. Robert, what does World Day Against Human Trafficking mean for Uganda?
Well, thank you first and foremost, Julie, and I want to thank the organ that sat and found it necessary to celebrate this day. Now, when we celebrate these days globally, when we join the rest of the world, it's all about reflecting on if there is any effort we are doing as a country, reflecting on what remain the challenges and how can we address the challenges, but also bring to the fact to let people know that, hey, there's this problem and it's a serious problem. Now, that's why we usually have these days, that if Uganda is to join the rest of the world to commemorate World Day Against Human Trafficking, first we create awareness that there's a problem called human trafficking.
Right.
We are discussing about it today because we did celebrate this. We did join the rest of the world to commemorate. Now, too, it is Uganda to look at how far have we come in terms of, are we doing anything? If yes, okay. If we are doing, is it what we should be doing, or we need to accelerate, expedite the various processes in regards to human trafficking? So it's very important, and it's a very big issue for us to celebrate this day, to join the rest of the world in commemorating this day, because we reflect where have we fallen short, where are we still seeing, because human trafficking takes twofold. We have internal, or would I call it domestic human trafficking, where you're trafficked within your country.
Right.
Like you're gotten from Kawempe, you're gotten from Machindye, from Mr. Job in Kalangala, the number of resorts there are so many white people there, you know, there are good bars. Kalangala is very different, like you're in the United States of America. Now these young girls, so what am I going to do there? Well, you're going to be a housemaid in a family of some whites. Now you're taken from wherever you're taken to this island, and guess what? You're brought in a bar and told now the other job is no longer there. What is here is you're going to be a bar attendant. But at the same time, you're going to be a prostitute. So that is within. Like we say, a number of these children,
right.
Some of them are trafficked. The parents are told there is an NGO going to pay school fees, there is this, they are brought to beg on the streets of Kampala. So there is internal or domestic human trafficking. But then we also have human trafficking that is external. You remember our brothers and sisters that government helped to return from Myanmar.
Right.
Now these end up in rebel hands. We've seen some of the girls in Qatar, some in Jordan, some talking about countries where they were taken and promised to work as domestic workers. Yet it is only the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia that government of Uganda has a memorandum of understanding and an agreement to export domestic workers. So they will tell you that I was taken, I'm going to be a marketeer, now I ended up in prostitution. I was taken, I'm going to be working in a house as a housemaid. When we reached there, Bansula Muchiyumba. So that is the human trafficking that is cross-border, that you're away from your country, then you have this one that is in your country.
Right. Do share some of the forms, the different forms of human trafficking that are existing and are being experienced by people.
First and foremost is taken in for prostitution. One of the most areas globally where human trafficking is seen is young girls being taken for prostitution. Not only in Uganda, in many countries, in the Philippines, in Thailand, many countries come back to Africa. Most of the biggest trend when it comes to human trafficking is trafficking for prostitution. 2, slavery. Even in this day and age, young boys, as the girls are taken for prostitution, young boys are being taken into modern day slavery. They're in quarries, they're in gold mines, they're doing hard work and subjected to a lot of beating and all that. They are taken, promised heaven on earth. Now when they reach there, only to understand that, hey, actually here, every communication is taken from you, you must work. 2, human trafficking for rebel activity. I've listened to a number of stories by some young people who are rescued by our UPDF. And they'll tell you how they went into the ADF. You know, I had my uncle, very good in this, they are taking me to study religion, this, that, only to end up in a rebel camp. And once you're there, of course you understand you're there. And when you're there, you have to learn skills, you have to fight, because it is your survival.
There's no point of return.
It's no point of return. How are you going to return? So basically, those 3 are the most leading forms of human trafficking.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how prevalent is human trafficking, do you think, in Uganda?
Now in Uganda, I must say, we've tried to fight external human trafficking. That may be in a scale of 10. Now we could have reached about 7. But we are doing very poorly in fighting internal human trafficking. Julie, let me give you an example. For journalistic purposes, and of course curiosity, though it killed the cat. You know, one time you're traveling, you meet, you know, evening classes where sometimes maybe you've gone to sauna, gym and all that, and there's some talk. Someone tells you, have you ever heard of a place called this? There is one place, I won't mention the name, but it's along Natete Busega, as you're climbing there. You know? It's more or less a brothel. You know? Now, one time, someone told me of what is happening in that place. I was eager to go and find out. And now I didn't go as a client, I went as a journalist. And I noticed that many of these girls, a number of them picked from Western Uganda, are brought, promised. In that place, many Ugandans now know it. It's in Busega. Would I say, after Natete police station, as you're climbing a bit, it is even on the road, and you may think it's a luxury place. There is, I hear, jacuzzi, there is sauna, there is steam, there is what. But a number of those young girls, there you meet all types of women. So I would say these very young girls. I picked interest, questioning one by one. But how did you come here? And then, and promising them to extract information. Can take you away from here. Said, the truth is, there is a lady called Senga. She came, she picks us, this, that. And I watched some of the activities that these women are even, these young girls are even forced. This lady moves around. If one is tired, go away. They hurry, you know. So I saw this was a form of human trafficking. And it is inside Uganda. Today, when you move in Kabalagala, Machindye, some parts of Kororo, you're going to see these young women. People say prostitution is on an increase. But when there's someone who picked these young women, promising them something, reaching is totally different, and they must do prostitution because she must get money. Now, there's another form that we're all looking at and we've become complacent. These children we see on the streets. Fellow Ugandans, most of these children are trafficked. But we are like, street children, because not your child. It's not my child. You're not related to them. It is normal for you to drive and the child comes and asks, again, you scare them around. If so, you give them some money. But a number of these, I remember some time back, KCCA, when Simon Kasiate was still the spokesperson, we did an operation, which I was part of. We went to a place called Chikaramoja. Now, you know, sharing in Zambia.
Right.
As you slope, there is a road, there is a church, they are delivering something. Now, there is a zone there called Chikaramoja. Many Karamajongs sleep there. And this is where we found a lady who has something very fine, like where chickens are supposed to be sleeping even there. Had about 50 young street children, very different age. She went, got them from parents, promising. Now, each of that child must report money. She doesn't even come on the streets. Now, the business is so lucrative that she even has colleagues that stand a distance to monitor. That is why you've never asked yourself, even if you pass the same street and you gave that child 500 now, come back again after 10 minutes, give her child 500, again 500. Every time, she's not going to have the money. If you ask her, where is the money I just gave you? Now, after you leave, she takes to the other lady. Now, we've not done much in fighting. Go to homes.
Right.
Many what we call house girls today, Ugandans, let's be very honest, they are products of human trafficking. Someone promised that young girl education. She only landed in your home. And she's working. Some of you are even practicing modern day slavery. So internally, we've totally done nothing, I must say.
Wow, from the examples you've given, it looks like there's a lot of ignorance surrounding us, and the impact of crime or the events that we see is as to how we judge what human trafficking is, yet it surrounds us every single day. If you're wondering what we are talking about, well, yesterday, 30th of July, was a World Day Against Human Trafficking in Persons, was commemorated yesterday, and the theme this year is human trafficking is organized crime and the exploitation. And it's what we are looking at for the case of Uganda, where we exist. Now, somebody comes through and says, good morning, Julie and Robert. Is there any reason to celebrate this day, if I may ask? It's a threat. If it's a threat, which is still existing in the country, I think we just need to get better remedy for it than giving it a momentum and talkability, because victims of human trafficking, I guess, the only thing they want to hear is "eat no more." Maybe we can commemorate it after its departure. For God and my country. This is Cricket Derek Gagamel from Machindie Luwafu. And good morning, Uganda. Thank you for the program. I love the topic. But personally, I don't think Uganda should be part of the rest of the world to celebrate this day, because many people in Uganda have been trafficked and allegedly reported to be government-backed trafficking, government-backed trafficking, mostly to political opponents against government, yet it's a right. Secondly, we have not seen government efforts to protect Ugandans taken abroad and are misled into unproductive work, yet those companies are licensed here. So my question is, does the government have rights to traffic people in the country and after join the world to celebrate this day? Thanks for the show. This is Muhimbura Benon from Mitoma District, live in Solid Rock, Arua.
Well, first and foremost, to my brother, Cricket Derek, I want to give him another form of human trafficking. You see, sometimes I regret why I chose this profession, but I'm proud I did. And I hope one day I'll achieve being a voice for the voiceless. Because most of the times I see things differently and I'm tempted to investigate. I pray I don't get beatings one day. Now, I want to give you another form I discovered of human trafficking. The young boys who sell maize and eggs.
On the streets of Kampala?
On the streets of Kampala.
Right.
Many of you could even be buying these eggs and you're just saying, Gocha, Mpayo. There's that semi-age. Now, I took interest to find out. And I questioned, I would see a number of these boys. So one time, a bucket fell. You have alone this one who was acting that they have knocked him and people paid. It was over social media. But one time, this young boy, a border wanted to knock him and all the eggs fell. Of course, they are boiled eggs, but they got cracks and all, so they couldn't sell them. So the boy was crying and crying. And I went closer to him and I asked, why are you crying? He said, Banzise. I'm like, Rachi, Mukama wange. When I heard the word Mukama wange, first I thought these are parents, single mothers, or, you know, these days you have so many absentee fathers, useless fathers, just donors, and they moved on, just like cocks do. Now, I thought maybe. So I'm like, no, where do you stay? Because I met this young boy in Machini. He said, and I was like, no. How much are the eggs? He told me how much they were. I think they 35,000. I said, fine, but you don't have to cry. I can put you on my bike. We go home. I pay for the eggs. How about if I apologize? I'm the one who almost knocked you. Said, if I took you home, I would be in great trouble. Like, why? We are not allowed to speak where we stay.
Wow.
I was brought from Chenjojo, promised education. Now I walk eggs. Sometimes you walk eggs, sometimes you walk maize. But we all don't see that. I thought these were kids, they go to school maybe in the evening hours.
So essentially they are trafficked for forced labor. Forced labor.
Now, when Cricket says we shouldn't, they don't see the reason to celebrate.
Right.
Why we commemorate and celebrate, one, is create awareness. Just imagine if we didn't have this day. Because we have this day, today I'm showing you the various forms that actually, before you talk about externally, there is a bigger problem in Uganda today within us. So that is
Now,
the reason we should celebrate.
That's interesting because I think with that knowledge, it now comes to us.
It creates awareness, how
creates
big the
awareness
problem is.
And what we should do as people who consume this maize, who consume these eggs on the streets day in, day out, who give these street children money.
Where do they?
I think now the part to be played starts with us as well. What can we do? What can you do? What can I do? What can Robert do? Perhaps let's start nudging from there. Now, in just a short while, Robert, we're going to look at what the law says against trafficking. But looking at some of the comments quickly. Good morning, UBC. This is Nsete Abubakali from Iganga Busei Mwana. Human trafficking is serious and most do it as a result of poverty. But let them know job creation is better than job seeking. Good morning, Uganda. Trafficking in our country is attached to high levels of unemployment in the country. This is Edson from Entebbe. Hi, good morning, Uganda. I'm Maddox from Bale City. Human trafficking is high due to reckless government effort towards human trafficking. And Omgaga Saurembo, you say kwendi ngoberera webale kusomesa gwanga. Good morning, Uganda. This is Odaro Vicent from Tororo. Human trafficking is a vice that can be fought if we all become concerned. If some organizations of individuals come taking our children or adults in the name of educating them or for jobs, we should first investigate before they are taken to find out whether they are genuine or not. Robert, what does the law say in Uganda?
Well, according to our law, the Uganda combats human trafficking through, that is the Prevention of Trafficking in Persons Act 209. Now, this law criminalizes various forms of trafficking, including sex and labor trafficking, prescribing penalties ranging from 15 years imprisonment to life imprisonment depending on the circumstances. So according to our laws, and that is the Trafficking in Prevention of Trafficking in Persons Act 2009. If you're found guilty of human trafficking, you can be sentenced to serve a sentence not less than 15 years imprisonment or life imprisonment. But you see, the challenge is, one, we have very good laws, but we fall when it comes to enforcement.
It's what
that is the biggest challenge that you have as a country, enforcement. And two,
yes,
most of the times and sometimes, you see, traffickers, it is a racket. It is a racket, you know, that is very hard to break. Then also, sometimes the people trafficked are traumatized, that they can't even give enough information.
On that note, when you talk about trauma, that means that we need organizations that, you know, handle mental health awareness, handle counseling services. What role do you think NGOs, organizations, or spaces like NGOs are playing in combating human trafficking in Uganda?
Oh, first I want to commend the non-governmental organizations.
Right.
I must say they have done a tremendous job. It is bad that now we have funding cut here and there because most of them depend on donor-aided funding. But they have done so much as far as counseling these young girls that are returning from Saudi Arabia, from other countries. Of course, Saudi Arabia, there's been a bit of improvement, but that were trafficked. They have homes, they have given them shelter, they have given them something to do, they have given them medication. I want to thank all the non-government organizations that are doing this. Government, what we can do best is prevent people living here. There's some work being done, but like one of our viewers said, this human trafficking, the externalization human trafficking, is a hard thing to fight. I know a number of companies that are not doing things the way they should do them, much as some are licensed. But they are not easy to mess with. I told you sometimes I've done investigative journalism, but there's where you reach and you also think twice. Should I continue or not? And the best is to let go. I've told you of this young boy. I think it took me a month trying to urge this young boy to take me where they stay.
And he refused.
And he refused until I used a border guy. No, they play very important roles. Told them and told him, goberera akaana ako paka lwekanaddayo siramuze ekyo kijja kuba kizike. Now, what we discovered, I want to thank the police in Natete, this man had 6 of these boys. 6 of them, you know? So, it is not some, even when we followed the case to some level, he had a relative somewhere. I looked at the person handling the file. Then at one time they're asking me how I'm concerned. Then it becomes complicated.
Right.
Some of the people in this country that engage in criminality are powerful. Some can destroy others. So it becomes a problem, but we cannot end the fight. We must fight. We must speak. Maybe it is our calling to speak and expose some of these things. The place I've told you in Busega. People have spoken and we will continue to speak. But nothing is done. But this is the truth. We've investigated, we've interviewed, and still nothing is happening. But we shall not give up, because if we do not fight human trafficking, who knows your daughter, who knows your son may be kidnapped and ends in search. Today is me, tomorrow somebody else.
Right. Now, this conversation has to come to its end. Let me read one last comment as we close it. I am Mike Kidon Onyang from Moroto. Most Karamojong children are trafficked to Kenya en route to Somalia and other parts of the world. Most of these children are victims of human sacrifice. With that sad example and story, I think my highlight from this conversation has been one, the fact that you know, it's mostly women and children who are trafficked. Mostly men are trafficked as well, but the higher percentage and numbers of victims are women and children. And it's sad that it's fellow women who are always leading these crimes. But also the fact that ignorance and impact of these crimes is what we do not feel, and we find ourselves taking part and playing a role in helping these children be trafficked or maintaining the crime of trafficking. For example, we buy eggs, we buy maize, we buy things from these children, but we do not know that they are actually serving a whole trafficking crime line. And I think there's something that you and I can do on a daily to stop this. Start small, but eventually the impact is bigger. And also looking forward to these laws that are properly written in Uganda being implemented, and these cases becoming case studies as well as examples for others. And I think the need for rehabilitation for those that are victims to increase the more, so that more stories are told to help make awareness of human trafficking. For now, the reel ends here, but we once again want to congratulate the Kabaka of Buganda, commemorating him on this 31st day of July since 1993, when he is the Kabaka of Buganda, 32 years on the throne and still leading Buganda very well, very, very well. Robert and I happen to be clanmates. Tuli bazzukulu ba Mugema. What is your kabiro?
Toleta buzibu.
Nze Nantaba ndi muzzukulu wa Mugema, akabiro ka mukukulu ak'ekibala ekyeru.
Nze Kirabo Robert Nyonyi Ntono ndi muzzukulu wa Mugema, akabiro byenda. Tyaba enku twokye ennyama Mugema ffe tuseeko omulala awangaale ayisa abasajja magulu nyondo.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Hello, Kampala, Uganda. In response to the national call of strengthening the traffic security, Good Products Group HGO brand has officially launched the rider selection campaign. Registration is now open. Visit www.riders.hgo.com. Complete your registration now for a chance to win exciting prizes including motorcycles, exclusive HGO gift boxes, and official rider vests, all while promoting safe riding awareness. This is how to participate. Pay the registration fee, invite 3 friends to form a team of 4, and your registration fee will instantly be refunded. Begin your journey of honor today. Don't miss this opportunity. Join the challenge, promote road safety, and become a pioneer rider. For details, visit the official Good Products website at www.hgo.com or call toll free 0800-335-555 or visit our offices at Kingdom Kampala 3rd floor to register now and win prizes worth millions.
I thought it was just a heat rush, but a friend told me to get tested for Mpox. I went early and I caught it before it got worse. I only had to stay home for a few days. If I had waited, I could have missed 2 weeks of work, maybe even more. That's rent and food gone. Early testing and treatment helped me to protect my health and income.
Trust your health workers. Early detection of Mpox saves lives. Visit a health facility as soon as you notice that you are unwell. For more information about Mpox, call the Ministry of Health's toll-free line 0800 1000 66 or send a free SMS to your report on 8500. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Health of Uganda with support from UNICEF, WHO and partners.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Brought to you by Uniquely Ours. Explore Uganda.
Good morning. Once again, thank you for choosing UBC. My name is Zakia Lucky, and we are on Good Morning Uganda Tourism Express. We are just in the field of color and art. Bringing you is the class of fabric mosaic, which is going to be digested by Mr. Magezi. He's going to tell us what this process is like, and with me are Miss Tourism contestants that are getting to be skilled. Remember, pageantry is not all about catwalks. This is their space now and time to be skilled and see what they can get out from all this entire experience. You saw us go through pottery, and now it's time for art. Let's see what we can find there.
Thank you, Zakia. Good morning, everyone. So my name is Magezi Collins Timothy, a visual artist from Kabale. And today we are going to be doing fabric mosaic. We can call it fabric collage or fabric patchwork. So these are the pieces we're going to be working with today, and all we're going to do is to use what we have to create what we don't have. We have a few materials here of fabric. There is they are here, then also these ones, and we shall be differentiating them according to color and shades, so that we're creating the contrast and everything. So we are going to get started. Literally, we are going to look for colors that match with the lion. There is something that is something like orange, something like yellow, you know, and we also have to add in the texture part of the drawing. So you can use fabrics that have some bit of rough texture. When you touch it, it feels a little bit rough. Those I think are going to go on the side of the men, so we can cut them big pieces, so that later we can trim to make it clean. Then we use the dark parts, the dark fabrics for these dark parts, somewhere around here, and also down here. Then we are also going to, for the parts of the eye, we shall have to cut these patterns, these round patterns, something like this, to cover up with a section of the eye. Then we are going to be using wood glue and paint brushes. We are going to use them for applying glue on the canvas so that it speeds up the process. So what we're going to do now, we first differentiate the colors. So you're going to cut the black fabrics, these ones. We don't need to put in plain colors, just so that we add in texture, like the way you're seeing here. So for the start, we shall cut something that is more of triangular. Then we see if it fits there slightly. Now what you do, you paint around the area that you're going to put the fabric, so that you know, when you put, as I told you, the fabrics we are cutting, they have to be slightly bigger than the space, so that later we trim off the unwanted parts. But it's best when you put the wood glue onto the canvas, so that it helps you not to overlap. Now, if we had put the wood glue on the fabric, we would have covered up the part that is supposed to have these other colors.
We previously did take you out through the art class that is going to be coming in with Miss Tourism Southwest contestants. With me again is Mr. Magezi. He's going to be telling us the significance of art, especially in our theme, which is I Am My Culture. How are you, Mr. Magezi?
I'm fine, thank you.
Well done on this class.
Thank you.
Looking at the work that these girls are doing, it's just breathtaking. Yes, so we'd like to understand what's the relevance or the significance of art, or African mosaic, like you did call it, in tourism.
Well, like as you know, art is not all about painting, just art is about storytelling. And today we are telling a story about culture. We are telling a story about southwestern Uganda. Speaking of using fabric to create what we don't have, which is the fabric mosaic that we are working on here. And we chose these animals, the gorilla specifically, since it's more of an animal that symbolizes southwestern Uganda. And these fabrics we are using, most of them, as you can see, they are vitenge, and vitenge are more of fabrics that are significant to southwestern people. As I think you've seen people who do fashion in vitenge and all that. Yeah, so basically it's more of using fabric, but when we go deep into fabric, it's more of using vitenge to create what we want to do to create, which is the gorilla and the lion.
Yes, you talked about art being about storytelling. What is the story behind a gorilla put on a frame that is going to be added onto fabric? What is the picture or the story that you have to tell within such a thing that you're putting up?
Well, a gorilla, as you all know, southwestern Uganda, what brings us out is a gorilla in the world of tourism. And when a person is, let's say, flying in to Uganda, when they are coming straight to southwestern Uganda, they specifically come because they know that we are rich in gorillas. We have plenty of gorillas. It's a home of gorillas. So that's the same reason as to why when you enter Kabale at the roundabout, you see gorillas, sculptures of a gorilla. Yeah, and this is who we are. This is what we share pride in. This is what puts us out there. So I can't, me personally, I can't go out there to, let's say, make a sculpture or something about like a tiger, you know, something like a giraffe, yet we don't have them here. So why we chose a gorilla, it's because it's who we are. That's what signifies southwestern Uganda in the part of tourism.
Yes, it's who we are, and that's just our identity. I did tell you I come from the same area. This is my region and my home district, and we are going to also get to hear from the contestants. What is it that they've managed to learn from this entire experience? That was it from Mr. Magezi. We are getting on to the class, but before we get into that, thanks to Davis as well, we are getting more skills. I'm telling you, today is about skilling, getting just a new hobby. So we'll be hearing from the contestants as well to get to learn about their insights. What did they learn from this class? Like he did say, art is about telling stories. Let's get to hear about one of the contestants' story. Okay, hello.
Hello.
Please introduce yourself and then...
I am Bridget Karunji. I'm one of the contestants for Miss Tourism Southwestern Uganda.
Yes, so please take us through what you managed to learn today in regards to art and the theme.
Yeah, so today we did something that they call fabric mosaic. Us using the different fabrics with the vibrant colors enough that chitenge pieces, it's part of our culture. The chitenge symbolize our culture, and then the colors, they fill us with warmth, like they had earlier taught us. Art is therapy, art is storytelling, and I just see your story right now.
You talked about storytelling and you seeing the story. What is your story?
Well, my story from my piece here is something bold, something proud, and that's exactly what we are. We are proud of our culture.
What more can you talk about the people of Southwest? Bold, and that is her story. So stick around as we get into the poetry class that will be coming in the next segment.
Brought to you by Uniquely Ours. Explore Uganda.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda. Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Good morning. Welcome back from JMU Tourism Express. Time for business, and my name is Julie Nantaba Mosisi. We are starting off with business management professor at Makerere University, Peter Turiachira, who uploaded the growing impact of social entrepreneurship in addressing community-based social challenges. This was during the 5th Social Entrepreneurship Forum, which also marked the induction of new members into the association. The forum attracted over 85 social entrepreneurs from a variety of sectors who gathered to share ideas, strategies for scaling up their enterprises. Dr. Tamale Joyce, CEO of Capital Solutions Uganda, recounted the association's progress and growth since inception. Professor Turiachira praised social entrepreneurs for their continued contribution to community development and urged them to remain strategic and innovative in their approaches. A key highlight of the event was the official launch of the SEF platform, which aims to advocate for supportive policy on social entrepreneurship in Uganda. The day concluded with a graduation for entrepreneurs whose business ideas have been validated to create positive social impact in their communities. Now, looking at Tanzania, Tanzania has enacted sweeping new restrictions, barring foreigners from operating a broad range of small businesses in a move aimed to protecting grassroots economic activity and preserving opportunities for local citizens. The new regulation, business licensing, prohibition of business activities for non-citizens, Order 2025, was officially published on July 28, 2025, under Government Notice Number 487A, and signed by Dr. Selemani Jaffo, the Minister for Industry and Trade. Under the directive, foreigners are prohibited from participating in 15 specific business sectors considered critical to grassroots economic empowerment. These sectors, traditionally dominated by Tanzanians, are seen by the government as vital to local job creation and income generation. The regulation introduces fines up to 10 million Tanzanian shillings, imprisonment of up to 6 months, or both for violators. Additionally, foreign offenders may have their residence permits and visas revoked. Tanzanian citizens who assist non-citizens in these restricted activities also face penalties, including a 5 million Tanzanian shilling fine or up to 3 months in jail. The government says the restrictions are part of a broader push to empower Tanzanians economically, but the move has stirred unease across the East African community, where such unilateral restrictions are often viewed as non-tariff barriers to regional trade and integration. Well, now let's have a look at what the forex rates look like as of 30th July 2025. And the US dollar opened at 3,580.09 and selling at 3,590.09. By midday, it was still at 3,580.09, still maintained, and that was actually an increase from the previous rate. And the British pound increased as well to 4,785.86 from 4,772.35, and it was selling at 4,799.23. The euro as well increased to 4,140.01 from 4,138.35 and was selling at 4,151.58. The Kenyan shilling increased as well to 27.70 as of 30th July from 27.69 and was selling at 27.78. The Tanzanian shilling as well increased from about a month ago at 1.37 to about 2 weeks at 1.38 and now at 1.39 and selling at 1.40. And the South African rand buying at 200.48 and selling at 201.04. Well, that brings us to the end of GMU Business, but Good Morning Uganda does continue. Still here for the agenda. Save the number 0709602592 as we look at corruption in Uganda, fighting against corruption in Uganda, as Uganda ranked 26 out of 100, scored, not ranked, but rather scored 26 out of 100 in the recent Corruption Perception Index report 2024. What does that mean? Well, stick around for the conversation. Good morning.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
The government's core mandate is to maintain law and order, safeguard citizens' rights, and provide essential public services.
Remember, one of the pillars of a roadmap is innovation and entrepreneurship.
There has been this question of how are you protecting our indigenous seed?
It's going to be a tall project that answers somebody's question.
The Front Bench has brought you insightful discussions on governance, security, healthcare, justice, and commerce.
Why do you go through this complicated procedure, involve the lawyers? You bring the case against him, the judge will hear you out and pass judgment, and you're out of court in record time.
We remain committed to keeping you informed and engaged on key national matters.
So these are huge, these are powerful organizations which now Uganda chairs. Why don't you come together?
If we haven't migrated to the e-card because of various reasons, including that not all the people of Uganda have smartphones.
You can sit in your house, apply for a passport.
If you have a Ugandan who has a successful logistics firm in the US, it means he can come to Uganda and do a lot more.
Every Monday at 8:30 p.m. with me, Jethro Kasaiji, your interface with the government only on your public broadcaster, UBC, Inspiring Uganda.
Hello, Kampala, Uganda. In response to the national call of strengthening the traffic security, Good Products Group HGO brand has officially launched the Rider Selection Campaign. Registration is now open. Visit www.riders.hgo.com. Complete your registration now for a chance to win exciting prizes including motorcycles, exclusive HGO gift boxes, and official rider vests, all while promoting safe riding awareness. This is how to participate. Pay the registration fee, invite 3 friends to form a team of 4, and your registration fee will instantly be refunded. Begin your journey of honor today. Don't miss this opportunity. Join the challenge, promote road safety, and become a pioneer rider. For details, visit the official Good Products website at www.hgo.com or call toll-free 0800-335-555 or visit our offices at Kingdom Kampala 3rd floor to register now and win prizes worth millions.
Taxation is a bit complicated, and the only way to demystify it and make it as easy to understand and to comply with is through engagement. Is there a limit to the number of cars a returning citizen is bringing into Uganda? Who has paid the excise duty on this water is not the supermarket which has sold you this bottle at 1,000. It's not the business. It is the man who is going to drink this water. We strongly believe that it will only be through such constructive engagement that we'll be able to broaden our tax base and build our country together.
Buza Commissioner. Now you can get direct answers. Send your tax-related questions via WhatsApp or SMS to 0790-141-887, and the Commissioner General of URA, John Musinguzi, will personally address them. Tune in to UBC News Tonight every Monday and Wednesday for expert insights and clear explanations. Buza Commissioner.
In a nation hungry for truth, a world where every story matters, there exists a beacon of trust and reliability. For decades, they've been our voice and our window to the world, holding the mirror of our history. With 4 TV stations and 11 radio channels spanning 27 languages, they stand as guardians of information, defenders of truth. With Maskari Heritage Advantage, they uphold every citizen's right to reliable and free information. Their archive stories shaped our past and illuminate our present. Yet now, as new challenges arise and the world evolves, their mission faces its greatest test yet. Be part of our journey and let's navigate the unknown, uncover the untold, and safeguard our future together. Tune into your public broadcaster, for it is the intersection of trust and truth. Because to UBC, your story, every story, and every voice matters. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
This August, East Africa becomes the center of African football. CHAN 2024 is here, and it's bigger than ever. 3 proud nations, Kenya, Tanzania, and Uganda, united by football, passion, and power. From the first whistle to the final roar, 35 thrilling matches, live only on UBC TV and radio stations. Wherever you are in Uganda, from the city to the village, UBC brings CHAN 2024 to your screen and your radio. August 2nd to August 30th, it's football like never before. 1 tournament, 1 region, 1 heartbeat. CHAN 2024, live on UBC. Feel the game, live the glory.
Our program of poverty eradication is a must. We want everybody to be involved.
Through the parish development model, Ugandans are starting small but impactful projects to improve their livelihoods.
When we give 1 million, we know it's not enough to do many things, but it's a starting point.
I'm a PDM beneficiary, a farmer. Your Excellency, I was given 1 million Uganda shillings from Kobil Kawo PDM Sako. Your Excellency, I got 20 bunches from my small piece of land, sold, got 400,000, put in the PDM farm, Your Excellency, in the PDM money, Your Excellency. I bought a cow of 1,400,000.
In 1 year, 100 families in the parish you get. In 5 years, 500 families would have got.
We were the first people to receive money from Nakaprepret. I received $1 million. I rented 4 acres of land and I was able to harvest 14 bags.
So really this 1 million is enabling somebody to start something. Yes, and we don't want to give too much money to one person because we have got very many people to cover.
The parish development model empowers the people, focusing on lifting up the masses and creating opportunities that ensure prosperity for all. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of ICT and National Guidance.
Mukoke Fish Farmers Association tuli balunzi ba byananda ebyebika ebisatu omuli Miracap, tilapia oba engege ni catfish twete male. Group eno twatandika twali abantu basatu nga tulingirira obwetaavu obwebyenanda obw'obwivwa n'okubona nti tufuna ku kasente akava mu maadi agali gatambula butambule nga gatubita ku wano ng'ekirabo. Twatandika ni fish pond ndala mu mwaka gw'e2018. Twebaza fisheries officer ni district ya Bugiri babanga batulagirira ku Sani Fish Farm ebwikwe inside day ndeyo twabanga tusobola okufuna kwetusaako obugege obwasooka era mu mwaka ogwali 2020 awo basobola okubanga batuwaayo ebyenanda emitwalo $40 okuva mu operation Werese Creation era okuba yongerezaako emmere yatuweebwa okuva Uganda Poultry Breeders. Twasobola okubanga tusoloza akasente akawerera obukayire nga 42. Twasobola okubanga tubuinvestinga oba okubona nti twongerezaako ku bimu ku bintu bye tukola gano. Twebaza gavumenti yaife okubanga buli saawa efaayo okubanga efe eri Abannayuganda.
Pick of the day on UBC.
He expected me to die like within the first 2 years.
Out of the blue, the child will get pains, especially in the wrists. And this happens commonly when children are starting to walk.
Was brought to you by
I'll call you every day, yeah, yo, baby, don't know.
You can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks. Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000. Or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100 *21# and select daily or use the My MTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
Nsooka okwebaza omukulembeze w'eggwanga okututeekateeka. Twali tetunnaba kuteekebwateekebwa, twafuna okusoomoozebwa nga kungi nnyo. Omuli okutukwata abasirikale, olumu nga tetulina na kitukoze. Kale nga n'akasente k'oba osonzeewo ggwe nga ggwe akagenda okukuyambako mu bizibu byo, nga weekanga okawadde abasirikale. Naye okuva ffe ghetto structure we yayimirirawo ebintu bingi byakyuka. Abaana baffe tebakyabakwata nnyo okuggyako abo abamenyi b'amateeka. Ne be bakutte nga babakwatidde mu ghetto ng'ekikwekweto kibadde kiyise. Nabo tulina omukisa ogugenda okubaggyayo. Abasirikale batuwulira. Abasirikale batuwulira. Toyinza kugenda ku poliisi n'ogamba DPC nti bakutte omwana wange ng'akumanyi nti oli komanda. N'atateekayo nnyo maanyi kukola ki? Kumugjayo. Ne neebaza bakama baffe Jeno Damulira Afande Kuteesa nange tweyanzizza nnyo mukozi ky'amaanyi bo bakoze ky'amaanyi nnyo tuteekateeka. kuba bwe twamala okuyingira ghetto structure ne batuteekerawo ne sako ne certificate twazifuna kati bwe batteekerawo sako eyo era muzeeyi n'amala n'atuukiriza kye yatugamba n'atuteekeramu ssente era kati eno essaawa gye tuliko tuwola abaana tuwola ba ghetto youth ababadde balina bizinesi zaabwe naye nga zibulamu ebyokukola tugenda tubawa okutwaliza wamu kati tuli bulungi tetuli bubi nnyo era twebaliza ddala President Museveni okutukolera ekintu ekyo kuba mubugufu twali.
Ghetto structure okusooka ffe twali twepima nga ghetto structure tenabeerawo bali batugoba nga bintu si byakubeera nga tusobola okumiitinga mumwali temusobola na kutumiitinga batulaga bagenda tulondesa obukulembeze ne batulaga nti tulina okweteekateeka ne batulaga nti mu bayamba mulina okubeera ne sako era essaawa zino eno nakasente tukayina mwekali mu ofiisi tukakozesa ba beneficiaries abantu ab'omu ghetto wansi tuyanziza nnyo His Excellency the President of Uganda Brigadier General Damulira Major Emma Kuteesa House Controller anti-ghetto tumuyita anti-ghetto structure kati mulimu nze nagufuula mulimu ofiisi eno ghetto structure mulimu kati gwenkola sikyalina kyenkola kyonna bannaye ba ghetto youth mwenna bakubiriza ghetto structure yazze n'emikono ebiri ebeere ng'etuyambako oba ng'etujjayo yonna gye tuli ng'etusapootinga mu buli kimu veeyo akasente mwe kali mu ofiisi ak'okwekulaakulanya mutuukire ofiisi ensonga zammwe zonna zigenda kukolebwako.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
A very good morning to you. If you started the show with us, thank you so much. If you've just joined in, you're welcome. This is Good Morning Uganda on UBC TV. My name is Julie Nantaba Musisi, and it's time for the agenda. Now, as always, the number is 0709602592. It's a WhatsApp number that you can only text to. You cannot call because I can't pick the calls, but I can read your messages and definitely engage them. Now, we are looking at the fight against corruption in Uganda, and despite the fact that Uganda has signed on both regional and global agreements to fight against corruption, it still remains a threat in Uganda. Uganda having scored 26 out of 100 in the Corruption Perception Index Report 2024 by Transparency International. Now, just to give you a bit of a background, Corruption Perception Index ranks 180 countries worldwide, and it ranks by the levels perceived of public sector corruption. Results are given on a scale of 0 to 100, 0 meaning highly corrupt, and 100 meaning that the country is very clean of corruption. 32 countries have significantly reduced their corruption levels since 2012, and 148 countries have stayed stagnant or gotten even worse over the years since 2012. 43 countries on average are still the same and still stagnant, and 2/3 of countries score below 50. Now, Uganda scored 26 and remains unchanged according to this report since the year 2022, placing the country at 140 out of 180 countries in the year 2024, which leads Uganda to remaining below the global average of 43 and the sub-Saharan average of 33 countries. Now, to have this conversation in studio with me is Dr. Patricia Achan-Okiria, who is the Deputy IGG. Good morning, Dr. Patricia. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Julie. Good morning, and good morning, viewers out there. I'm very happy to be part of this conversation this morning.
Right. Let's start with the good news. What report does the IGG have?
Well, the IGG, we have been, with the Inspectorate of Government, the IG, we have been doing quite a lot. First of all, I bring you greetings from the IGG, Honorable Betty Kamia, to Rome. As I was coming, I met her this morning, and I said, I'm going to UBC. She said, send greetings.
Oh,
we have highlights of our performance in the previous years. If you may note that our term of office is coming to an end next month. So we are very happy to complete the first term of 4 years. We have been investigating complaints, receiving and investigating complaints, and you realize that during our term, we received over 7,000 complaints. We investigated and concluded half of those, about 4,289, investigated and concluded. We prosecuted close to 200. We obtained conviction rate standing at 42%. We acquitted some, which is at 31, and we also withdrew some cases, abated some, and dismissed some. So for me, I look at that as a very, very big achievement, because we have seen the conviction rate going up and up. The average annual conviction rate now is at 42%. And then you realize we also have challenges there in the burden of proof remains very high for corruption cases because they are criminal cases. And then we have issues to do with dealing with syndicated corruption. For instance, bribery, where you have a willing recipient and willing giver, and they are all mature adults. So syndicated corruption makes it very difficult to get credible evidence which we can actually take to court and prosecute. And then we are basically looking at mainstreaming the financial profiling to address some of these challenges. We need to know the worth of leaders. And then in terms of recovery, among our achievements, 712 cases were ordered for recovery, and recovery from different institutions, like the Electoral Commission, Ministry of Agriculture, NSSF, UNRA, Ministry of Local Government, URA, OPM, Ministry of Energy, UBOS, the Judiciary, and KCCA, especially on the PDM cases for KCCA. So we have ordered for recovery of 76 billion. Actual recovery stands at 34, but we have the follow-up unit following up to ensure that we are able to get all the 76.7 billion. As the Inspectorate of Government, we have also handled our issues by ordering or recommending administrative sanctions, and we have recommended for 857 cases. Within administrative sanctions, we have people who have been interdicted, people who have been dismissed, people who have been cautioned, and some people whose appointments have been rescinded because they have committed acts of corruption. So these are some of the highlights. And then we have also looked at a total of 857 public officials who were subjected to administrative sanctions as a result of the investigations we have conducted as the Inspectorate of Government. In terms of assets, we have also recovered a number of assets. We actually are now looking at how to dispose the assets we have been able to recover over time. We have physical assets we have recovered, and the total value of the physical assets recovered through confiscation and court orders are standing at 13.1 billion. So we are looking at opportunities to have these assets disposed, and we're working out something with the Chief Government Valuer and other agencies to ensure that these assets are well disposed and this money reverted back into the government coffers. Then we have also done the ombudsman cases, the ombudsman complaints, where we have 59% of complaints received and concluded, and 6,822 on-spot visits, impromptu checks have been conducted in the Ministry of, in the health sector, education sector, and public administration, where the Inspectorate of Government has just been doing the on-spot checks. And there we're assessing the level of service delivery. Are civil servants attending to duty? Are they performing? Are there outputs? What about in the health sector? Are the patients receiving attention? Are there drugs? Are the health officials reporting in time for duty? And under here, we have actually managed to recover 22.9 billion. Funds comprised of pensions, gratuities, and salaries, which have been delayed or denied to rightful beneficiaries due to corrupt practices. And within the Leadership Code Directorate, we have also done declarations previously after 2 years. And in the recent declarations, we saw an improvement from 85% to 90% during the declaration period. We had a number of 28,000 leaders declaring. And as the Inspectorate of Government, we have been doing verifications. We have so far done over 2,500 verifications. We have investigated cases for breach, cases 900, close to 1,000 cases, and we are referring them to the Leadership Code Tribunal. The Leadership Code Tribunal has also been very active, very, very active, because they have been able to convict, to handle those cases expeditiously and convict. Actually, I would applaud them because they have not had issues of backlog. Because each time we send the cases, they are able to handle expeditiously and issue orders like fines and so on, and they've been able to also recover close to 200 million in their fines. 200 million, you could say, is a small amount of money, but if you look at the nature of the cases that go to the tribunal and the fines, and sometimes they order for demotion and others. So that is about the Leadership Code Tribunal. But we have also done education and public awareness to enlist citizens' support in the war against corruption. And we have seen a significant increase in the cases, because as we do awareness programs, as we do barazas, as we engage with citizens in the media like this, in radio talk shows, then we have seen a significant increase in the number of cases that the Wananchi are reporting to the Inspectorate of Government, which for me I see as a plus, because if we have said the war against corruption is a people's war, and now we see the people embracing the war and coming to report cases to the Inspectorate of Government, I think we are moving in the right direction. And then finally, we have done mainstreaming of transparency, accountability, and anti-corruption. Here, we have trained citizens to monitor government projects at the grassroots, and we have been able to train 31,872 citizens. And they have been able to inspect over 4,000 projects, and grievances identified has been about 608, which we have handled in the Inspectorate of Government, and even been able to recover some resources. For me, I think this has allowed the government projects to proceed as planned. This has helped us save wastage of resources on projects and programs of government. And then we have also achieved a score whereby our TAC, the Transparency, Accountability, and Anti-Corruption Strategy, is now part of the NDP4. And it's a cross-cutting issue. Actually, plans are underway for us to roll it out to all ministries, departments, and agencies, so that each ministry, department, and agency can have its own internal mechanisms of dealing with corruption. And now that leaves us with the responsibility of basically doing oversight, monitoring, and seeing that this strategy is having significant impact. So we have got the internal anti-corruption mechanisms. Julie, if you may realize, citizens have complained that there is corruption within the IG, corruption within the IG. We have a special unit handling internal cases of corruption within the IG. And we have had a number of IG staff investigated for corruption tendencies. We have actually denied contracts to some staff because of corruption tendencies. We have had to painfully dismiss some technical people because of corruption tendencies. So these are this is a synopsis of what we are doing, what I would say in terms of measuring progress, what has the IG done in order to fight corruption.
Right. So with that beautiful background and extensive report, Let's look at this report from Transparency International, the Corruption Perception Index. It says that Uganda has been at the same position since the year 2022. And from what you've stated from the report you've given us, it looks like the year 2022 and the year 2024 up until now, there's a whole difference. Why do you think the report is giving 26 out of 100?
Well, Julie, when you say that, you make me want to laugh because, you know, when you have a child going to school and other people are scoring 70 and yours is coming with 20%, it is a problem. But when you look at Transparency International, in terms of the Corruption Perception Index, it is a tool which provides insight into the perceived levels of corruption in the public sector, and it does so in various countries. For Uganda, the CPI basically at the moment is reflecting several challenges in combating corruption, the challenges we are facing as institutions in the war against corruption. And you realize that in order to address some of these issues in the fight against corruption, it has got very significant impact on governance, on the way we do our business, on the mechanisms, the systemic issues, and it touches on economic development and public trust. But you realize that commitment to transparency is what we are looking at as the Inspectorate of Government, because Uganda's government has actually been very committed to fighting corruption through various reforms, through initiatives, through promoting transparency and accountability. But you realize that the impact of corruption as brought out by the Transparency International basically shows that we are still having internal challenges. And the Transparency International brings out perception versus reality. Because remember, it's a corruption perception index. What do the citizens out there say? And then their sources of data. What kind of sources are they relying on? So the CPI basically is based on perceptions of corruption rather than the direct measurements. The direct measurements is what I've given you in terms of our performance in the Inspectorate of Government. And it reflects how corruption is viewed by experts, by business people out there, the ordinary person. And this perception, by the way, can also influence the investor confidence and public trust, and to impact greatly on economic growth. So that means we, the institutions involved in the fight against corruption, have got to go the extra mile, because they're saying, hey, you have weaknesses here. Can you improve on ABCD? And Julie, I can tell you, even if I said I 120 million cases on corruption, the perception index might even come down to 11%, because the more the cases of corruption, the more the picture that there is corruption prevailing in that country. So if the cases go down, then this will improve. But remember, we're talking about perception versus reality. Perception is what people out there think, but reality is this report I've given you.
Right.
And then also, maybe I could touch on the systemic issues, because a low ranking for a country like Uganda on the Corruption Perception Index suggests systemic issues in governance. It suggests the issues to do with weak institutional framework. It suggests that institutions were having challenges. And indeed, we're having challenges because if we were properly resourced, if we had enough manpower, we would have done a lot more. We would have gone the extra mile. But because we have some of those challenges, insufficient funds for enforcement activities, it highlights the need for comprehensive reforms within the institutions in the war against corruption.
Right.
Yes.
You've talked about manpower and all these institutions that are really fighting against corruption. We have the IGG's office itself. We have the State House Anti-Corruption Unit. We have bodies within Parliament, oversight bodies within Parliament. How effective are all these institutions when it comes to fighting corruption?
Well, the thing I admire about these institutions is the fact that they promote complementarity. We complement each other. Because like previously I've been here and I've said the war against corruption requires a holistic approach where everybody is involved, and that's why we're saying it's the people's war. So the more the institutions, actually the better. But people have argued that many cooks also spoil food. But within the institutions there are challenges. Are they well resourced? Do they have enough manpower? Because the institutions I know are working together. We are working together under the umbrella of the Interagency Forum, And then we also have a tripartite with PPDA and Office of the Auditor General and the IG. So we work together. Auditor General gives us their reports with information and gives us leads. PPDA also contributes and so on. And they help us to strengthen our cases for prosecution. But it is not enough to say we are working together. Are we well resourced? For instance, right now, we have got a backlog of cases which are supposed to be concluding at investigations. But we do not have resources to enable the technical people to go ahead and do that. In terms of the release, you can see government is challenged. And that's the reason why the restructuring or the rationalization has come up.
And for less institutions then?
Well, the rationalization is happening because we need to save money to be effective and promote efficiency in our work. But there are also public sector challenges. When you look at the public sector today, the CPI points at challenges within the public sector as well. What is happening in the public sector, including the bureaucratic inefficiencies. I have just said we have done on-spot impromptu visits. So you find that sometimes there's lack of accountability. You've heard about a report we have actually done, a study we have done in the Inspectorate of Government on service commissions. You have had the outcry on how people are saying they're buying jobs, service commission is selling jobs, and so on. So that contributes to the inefficiencies. So there is lack of accountabilities and opportunities which basically cause the level of corruption to soar within the public sector. So when we address these issues, it requires reforms aimed at improving public service delivery. As long as these reforms are having gaps here and there, the perception may even come lower. So I think it's important for us to look at how to improve these accountability mechanisms, and that is the reason why we came in with TAC, to promote transparency, accountability, and anti-corruption in all government ministries, departments, and agencies. They should have their internal mechanisms. Then the impact on development aid, you realize that the development partners withdrew. Perceptions of high corruption basically affects development aid. The development partners will say, since there is corruption in such institutions within the public sector, we are going to withdraw, and it also affects foreign investments.
Right.
So us donors and investors may basically worry about the management of the funds they are giving. And this can limit resources available even for the essential services, like in health, education, infrastructure projects, which basically hinders or affects development efforts. So that calls for us, the agencies involved in the war against corruption, to go the extra mile. But how do we go the extra mile if we are not adequately resourced? So I think we need to think twice about our strategies going forward. We need more resources to beef our work so that we can have significant impact out there.
Right. Let me engage some of the opinions and views coming in from you, our viewer. Good morning, Uganda. The problem is in Uganda is that even in the... All right, you sent two of them. Let me start. I'll just go to the second one. But you say, good morning, Uganda. Thank you for the program. For us to fight corruption in Uganda, we must start sensitizing all citizens on how to fight the vice by going village to village. This is Dan Achilu Oriokot. And you say that the problem in Uganda is that even the anti-corruption agencies are corrupt, because I lodge a complaint against some institutions like districts, but IG or State House anti-corruption take long to respond. So we end up not reporting corruption cases corruption cases to the IG. Thank you. What would you tell Dan Achilu?
I would like to thank Dan Achilu for that brilliant observation and question he has sent. It is very important for us to take the war against corruption to the grassroots. But remember the challenge. As the Inspectorate of Government, we have tried. I have been to villages. I have taken the face of the IG to the grassroots. But the challenge is funding. We cannot sustain that if we are not properly resourced. Corruption in institutions, he has reported, we've not taken action. It is still also, again, related. But we try our best to ensure that we have these complaints properly registered, we have it sanctioned, and the investigation begins. And then we are now coming up with a strategy of giving feedback to the Wananchi. The Corruption Perception Index has taught us great lessons. If there is no feedback, then the wananchi will not know what it is the institution is doing. So you will realize that the Inspector General of Government, Honorable Betty Kamya, now, every month for the past 1 year has been briefing citizens on the progress in the war against corruption at the media center, and then sometimes we have got write-ups in papers and so on. The continuous engagement and feedback to citizens is very, very important. And then Achilu, if you can give me the details of that case, I could follow up and see what level we have gotten to. But going forward, we are going to, with the digitalization, complainants are going to be able to go log on the system and be able to track progress. Has the matter been sanctioned? If it is under investigations, at what level? Is it ready to go for prosecution? And so on. We would like that online digital approach so that the ordinary person can log onto the system and get to know what it is the institution is doing. But remember that the digital journey also requires resources. But thanks be to God, we are hopeful. We live in hope that we'll get the resources to be able to enable the institution implement this. And we are already on the journey. Yes.
Now, still staying on the matter of funding, who is responsible for this funding? Where is the gap? How can this gap be closed?
Well, the government of Uganda is actually struggling resource-wise, if you followed the budget. But the Minister of Finance has given us some hope. And even when we presented our report to Parliament, Parliament is very supportive and they've given us hope. And we are hopeful. We live in hope. We are hopeful that progressively with the realization of resources, the institution will be well-resourced with funds to enable us to step up our work and up our game in the fight against corruption. And this will enable us to engage with the civil society as well, because the poor corruption perception index can galvanize civil society and public to demand greater transparency and accountability. And here we have been saying we would like the citizens to demand for accountability from the duty bearers. So I think this will help us strengthen our bond and build on partnership and strategic alliances with the civil society, because this serves as a catalyst for grassroots movements. It will be able to work together with the civil society in the war against corruption. And also, it will help us do comparative benchmarking, because it will allow us to benchmark on our progress against other countries. It will allow us to know why is it that other countries are scoring better than us. And yet in the East African region, we are actually the ones who are offering best practice. We are the president of IACA, the East African Association of Anti-Corruption Authorities, and they are benchmarking from us. They are looking at the best practice. So I think the comparative benchmarking will allow us to look at our progress against other countries. It will help us to be able to highlight even the areas where improvement is needed and where successful practices are from other nations. We can be able to adopt and bring them on board in order to influence our work positively.
Indeed. Looking at still how the fact that government doesn't have money, which is choking the operations of the office, don't you think that spending and priorities is an issue when it comes to government having to now manage its finances so that it's balanced as to where it's spent? And also looking at implementation, we have had guests or civil society organizations here share their perspective on how resources are managed in Uganda. And you find that we have very beautiful laws written in the fight against corruption, in the fight against this, against that, but they're rarely implemented. How is this affecting the IGG's office, and what would you advise?
Well, as one of the drafters of the anti-corruption laws, you know, previously I worked with the Directorate for Ethics and Integrity, and we wrote the Leadership Code Act, the Anti-Corruption Act, the Whistleblower Protection Law, and several others. I agree with you when you say that we have very good laws and policies, and even we have very good institutions.
And but when it comes to, by other countries,
when it comes to enforcement, it is still a bit lacking. But this is also tied to resources. We need resources to disseminate these laws. When I was in the Directorate for Ethics and Integrity, we were disseminating these laws. But I think we need to continuously simplify and disseminate these laws so that the ordinary person knows what exactly is provided for in the law. Going back to resources, Julie, because of the challenges, you cut your coat according to the cloth. What is allocated to you, then you have to do priority. Identify the priority areas and handle priority with the limited resources. So, and progressively, as and when we get the resources, then we are able to do a lot more. But overall, the Corruption Perception Index, for me, I look at it as a very crucial indicator that sheds light on the challenges we face in the war against corruption, and it also emphasizes the need for robust policy reforms. How do we begin to reform? That's why I have talked about TAC as a strategy, which should be rolled out in all ministries, departments, and agencies. And we also need institutional reforms and strong commitment to transparency and accountability. So for me, I believe, I'm very hopeful that when this is rolled out and the institutions are committed and we are well resourced, I think we'll go a long way in dealing with this challenge. But nevertheless, I think credit needs to be given where it is due. The achievements, we have recovered resources, we have boosted our investigation, we have been able to sensitize and change the mindset of the public, and the impact we see it is on how they respond to some of the cases and report to us on how they are coming with confidence as whistleblowers and bringing these issues for our attention.
Okay, let me read more of the comments coming in. Good morning. Statistics have that about 10 trillion is lost due to corruption, and our recovery is less than 1 trillion. My sister, are you doing the real job, or you are just assuming to be working? And please help me understand, are you only targeting small fish? Because we have direct cases of iron sheets, the MPs like Akamba, and the lady from Luengo with evidence which is well seen. What have you done about that? Because the IGG seems, the office seems silent, yet there's a lot of work and less being done. This is a Peru from Mela in Tororo.
I would like to thank Epelu for bringing out that quite clearly. We did a study, and the study disclosed that we lose close to 9.3 trillion annually in corruption, and this is both in overt and covert corruption. And the institution at the moment has done a lot to actually recover and prevent that loss. If you look at the achievements of the IG in the past 4 years, when we did that study, we then started working hard at preventing that loss. But when it talks about small fish or big fish, for us, we look at corruption as corruption. There is no small or big. Like in the Bible, sin is sin. You cannot say this is small sin, this is big sin. When they talk about the mukene, for me, I see us collecting sacks and sacks of mukene. I will not leave a small fish to go because I'm pursuing a big fish, because I know that one by one makes a bundle. So I think we need to change the mindset and be very optimistic about this. Big fish has got its challenges, but if I can gather lots of small fish, then we can do that. But we have also handled a number of cases of big fish within the Inspectorate of Government, and that has enabled us to recover the 34 billion. But remember, we have ordered for recovery 76 billion. And I believe that with the follow-up, we are going to be able to recover this. And what about the administrative sanctions, which are basically deterrent and discouraging people from being part of corruption and maladministration? So for me, I see, even in terms of the conviction rates, we have really scored. But I think credit needs to be given where it is due. Small or big, corruption is all corruption, and we don't do discrimination on the kind of cases or the approach or strategies we have in the Inspectorate of Government. We receive all complaints as complaints, and we go ahead and investigate them using our laws and basically relying on our mandate. But nevertheless, Pelu from Tororo, thank you for that issue. It has always come up on every talk show. The issue of small and big fish has come up, but we have dealt with it over time, and I believe the perception will change.
Have you thought of the idea of naming and shaming?
Yes, naming and shaming.
Yes.
I remember one time people were saying, but you're sending issues to the Leadership Code Tribunal. We decided to publish the cases, the names, and the people, and the sanctions against them. So that week, the issue, there was calmness.
Yes.
People now stopped raising those issues.
Perhaps it should continue indeed.
Yes, the victims or the accused persons could be able to see their names and how much fine it is they were supposed to pay back. Those who were demoted were able to see that, I was a senior and then I came down to officer. Those who were principals saw that, I was a principal and the tribunal decided to reduce my ranks because of maladministration and causing financial loss and so on. So all the details were there. But if that is what Ugandans love, we'll go ahead and do that because it's about transparency. What have we done in terms of convictions? How many have been convicted in terms of statistics? And going forward, we are going to be updating the citizens on the progress in the war against corruption. How many convictions have we secured?
Right.
How many cases are going for prosecution?
Right.
How many arrests have we been able to do, and so on, and what is the progress?
Right.
So I think going forward, that is what the citizens want to see in order to feel the institution. But the institution, we are working.
Indeed.
And the thing is that we do not work for cameras most of the time. We're doing lots of things there. Sometimes cameras grab us, but we are there working and recovering.
Indeed, thank you so much, Doctor. We surely, not just want, but indeed, it's important to name, shame, and just take away from office. Not even demote, but take away from office.
There are cases of takeaways. Cases of takeaways, like people have been interdicted, people have been dismissed, others have been cautioned, others, their appointments have been rescinded. Yes. Right.
As your parting shot, this conversation is really one that we hope to have you back so that we discuss more on this matter of corruption and definitely encourage Ugandans to be a part of it. But as your parting shot, what should citizens do and civil societies as well as the media to fight corruption alongside the IGG?
I think for me, my parting shot would be that, we need a holistic approach because this is our country. We need to be as patriotic, we need to be as vibrant, and citizens out there should be purposeful and intentional because the war against corruption is a people's war. So I encourage citizens to continue working together, joining hands with the IG, reporting cases to the Inspectorate of Government so that we can take them up, so that we can investigate them, so that we can bring people to book. But overall, I would like to thank you, Julie, for bringing up this issue on Corruption Perception Index, because it's an indicator that sheds light on our challenges and the challenges we face in the fight against corruption, and we can use it to go forward and come up with recommendations on how to improve. Because like a student, if the teacher or lecturer has said you have weaknesses in this area, then you look at those areas and concentrate on. Although remember the thing I talked about on reality versus actual, perception versus reality. So it's normally good for us to go with reality. And the reality is what I have shared here, what the institution is doing in the war against corruption. Going forward, we need more teamwork, and I would like to thank the citizens and viewers out there for the support and often ringing, sending WhatsApp messages. It has impacted greatly in our work. Thank you. God bless you, and I wish you a fruitful day ahead.
All right, that is Dr. Patricia Achan Okiria, who is the Deputy IGG, and she has insisted on rather than the Corruption Perception Index, it's a Corruption Reality Index report that she has given us here on UBC TV. It's Good Morning Uganda. Ruben is coming up with sports, so stay tuned.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Hello, Kampala, Uganda. In response to the national call of strengthening the traffic security, Good Products Group HGO brand has officially launched the Rider Selection Campaign. Registration is now open. Visit www.riders.hgo.com. Complete your registration now for a chance to win exciting prizes including motorcycles, exclusive HGO gift boxes, and official rider vests, all while promoting safe riding awareness. This is how to participate. Pay the registration fee, invite 3 friends to form a team of 4 and your registration fee will instantly be refunded. Begin your journey of honor today. Don't miss this opportunity. Join the challenge, promote road safety and become a pioneer rider. For details, visit the official Good Products website at www.hgo.com or call toll free 0800-335-555 or visit our offices at Kingdom Kampala 3rd floor to register now and win prizes worth millions.
Taxation is a bit complicated, and the only way to demystify it and make it as easy to understand and to comply with is through engagement. Is there a limit to the number of cars a returning citizen is bringing into Uganda? Who has paid the excise duty on this water is not the supermarket which has sold you this bottle at 1,000. It's not the business. It is the man who is going to drink this water. We strongly believe that it will only be through such constructive engagement that we'll be able to broaden our tax base and build our country together.
Buza Commissioner. Now you can get direct answers. Send your tax-related questions via WhatsApp or SMS to 0790-141-887 and the Commissioner General of URA, John Musinguzi, will personally address them. Tune in to UBC News Tonight every Monday and Wednesday for expert insights and clear explanations. Buza Commissioner.
This August, East Africa becomes the center of African football. CHAN 2024 is here, and it's bigger than ever. 3 proud nations, Kenya, Tanzania, and Uganda, united by football, passion, and power. From the first whistle to the final roar, 35 thrilling matches, live, only on UBC TV and radio stations. Wherever you are in Uganda, from the city to the village, UBC brings CHAN 2024 to your screen and your radio. August 2nd to August 30th, it's football like never before. 1 tournament, 1 region, 1 heartbeat. CHAN 2024, live on UBC. Feel the game, live the glory.
In a nation hungry for truth, a world where every story matters, there exists a beacon of trust and reliability. For decades, they've been our voice and our window to the world, holding the mirror of our history. With 4 TV stations and 11 radio channels spanning 27 languages, they stand as guardians of information, defenders of truth. With Mascari Heritage Advantage, they uphold every citizen's right to reliable and free information. Their archive stories shaped our past and illuminate our present. Yet now, as new challenges arise and the world evolves, their mission faces its greatest test yet. Be part of our journey and let's navigate the unknown, uncover the untold, and safeguard our future together. Tune into your public broadcaster, for it is the intersection of trust and truth. Because to UBC, your story, and every voice matters. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Hello, Kampala, Uganda. In response to the national call of strengthening the traffic security, Good Products Group HGO brand has officially launched the Rider Selection Campaign. Registration is now open. Visit www.riders.hgo.com. Complete your registration now for a chance to win exciting prizes including motorcycles, exclusive HGO gift boxes, and official rider vests, all while promoting safe riding awareness. This is how to participate. Pay the registration fee, invite 3 friends to form a team of 4, and your registration fee will instantly be refunded. Begin your journey of honor today. Don't miss this opportunity. Join the challenge, promote road safety, and become a pioneer rider. For details, visit the official Good Products website at www.hgo.com or call toll free 0800-335-555 or visit our offices at Kingdom Kampala 3rd floor to register now and win prizes worth millions.
Taxation is a bit complicated, and the only way to demystify it and make it as easy to understand and to comply with is through engagement. Is there a limit to the number of cars a returning citizen is bringing into Uganda? Who has paid the excise duty on this water is not the supermarket which has sold you this bottle at 1,000. It's not the business. It is the man who is going to drink this water. We strongly believe that it will only be through such constructive engagement that we'll be able to broaden our tax base and build our country together.
Buza Commissioner. Now you can get direct answers. Send your tax-related questions via WhatsApp or SMS to 0790-141-887 and the Commissioner General of URA, John Musinguzi, will personally address them. Tune in to UBC News Tonight every Monday and Wednesday for expert insights and clear explanations. Buza Commissioner.
This August, East Africa becomes the center of African football. CHAN 2024 is here, and it's bigger than ever. 3 proud nations, Kenya, Tanzania, and Uganda, united by football, passion, and power. From the first whistle to the final roar, 35 thrilling matches, live, only on UBC TV and radio stations. Wherever you are in Uganda, from the city to the village, UBC brings CHAN 2024 to your screen and your radio. August 2nd to August 30th, it's football like never before. 1 tournament, 1 region, 1 heartbeat. CHAN 2024, live on UBC. Feel the game, live the glory.